Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi, I am Harlina Zumiarti, English Education Department of UNISSULA. Today, I will answer the question of teaching English as foreign language. Midterm test. One is, until today in our country, English is taught at school as foreign language. Can you explain why? Why is not it a second language? In Indonesia itself, the position of English is as a foreign language. English is the most important foreign language in Asia. English in Indonesia is generally taught as a foreign language. The term foreign language in the field of language teaching is different from the second language. A foreign language is not used as a means of communication in the particular country where it taught. While a second language is a language that is not the main language but is one of the language used in general in country. Meanwhile, foreign languages are usually taught as one of the subject in school with the aim of basic communication and masterage are usually taught as one of the subject in school with the aim of basic communication and language skill, listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Within certain limits, Indonesia, the policy of teaching English as a foreign language changes over time and changes in policies. They are mostly influenced next by economics and politics. Number two, audiolingual method is one of the methods in foreign language teaching that emphasizes understanding, listening, speaking, reading. It is a major step in the language teaching methodology aimed at communicative competence in language learning. But in the audiolingual method, it does not focus on teaching for students are able to practice spontaneous use of grammar, language form, and pattern they have never heard before. I have several steps that I will take to teach students the skill of shopping at a grocery store. Number one is planning. Understanding the curriculum of the university or school and analyzing it to know competency and apply to the students by using audiolingual method. And then making lesson planning based on syllabus on preparing material of lesson planning and it should test the teaching of listening skill. Making observation paper to observe student activity and making instrument evaluation that used in the classroom. Next, action. In the first step, students will listen to a native-like model such as the teacher of a tape recorder and the student repeat the new material orally and individually. The next step, the student will memorize an opening dialogue using mimicry and play role-playing. Then the teacher will break a line into several parts. Students repeated each starting at the end of the sentence and expanding backward through the sentence, adding each part sequence. After that, the teacher will come to repeat drill. The student repeat teacher's model as quickly and accurately as possible. And then the student will ask and answer each other one by one in a circle around the classroom. The teacher states a line from the dialogue and then use a word or press as a cue the student when repeating the line. Most subject into the sentence in the correct place. The teacher will provide a sentence that must be turned into something else. For example, a question to be turned statement. Teacher will celebrate typically poses difficulty for the learners. Students are pronounced and differentiate the two words. In the last step, student will dialogue selecting word or erase from a line. The dialogue student must find and insert. Number three is observation. Next. Observation. Number one is making a note for all activities of the student in every meeting on in order that the teacher the improvement of the student skill. Number two is identification and make note all the problem that we need when teaching and learning process based on observation paper that hands. Making the evaluation which use the result of the study to know how far their improvement, and the last is giving the students chance for giving such action research. The last is reflection. I evaluate the teaching learning process, then the teacher reflected herself by seeing the result observation whether the teaching learning process of reading through audiolingual method to improve the student listening skill. If the second plan was unsuccessful, the teacher made the next plan to get the result. Number three. Next, Brownlee mentioned eight principles of language learning and teaching. One of them is the principle of automaticity. This principle, through an active process of exposure to language input and opportunity to experiment with output, children appear to learn language without thinking about them. Automaticity include the the importance of subconscious absorption of language through meaningful use and movement away from a focus on the form of language to a focus on the purpose to which language is put. Efficient and rapid movement away from capacity limited control and pieces to a relatively unlimited automatic mode of processing language form and resistance to the temptation to analyze language form. The of automaticity may be instead of low efficient second language. Learning involves a timely movement of the control of a few language into the processing of a relatively unlimited number of language forms. Overanalyzing language, thinking too much about this form, and consciously lingering on of all tend to impede this graduation to automaticity. The principle says that adults can take a lesson from children by speedily overcoming propensity to pay too much focal attention to the bits and pieces of language and to move language from quickly to the periphery of by using language and take context for meaningful purpose. I will apply this principle in my teaching in the following way. Next. Okay, I will apply this principle in my teaching in the following way. Number one is usually language begin with an introduction to the language system because there are no regulations that prohibit such learning. However, do not let learning the form of student become automatic in using language. Put more emphasis on conveying meaning in order to be able to use language fluently. Make sure language learning focus on using language. Use authentic language and at every opportunity. We are using language according to context, such as talking about hobbies, goals, hopes. Students will be more free to express their opinions and intentions. Such learning will also persist in long-term memory. Automaticity cannot be achieved overnight, so teachers need to guide students patiently and continually help them achieve fluency. Number four, next. Number four, small research on literature about the role of age in language learning and acquisition and mention the paper that you refer to. Okay, age is an essential factor in language learning and acquisition, impacting the success of student and educational method. The purpose of this literature is to examine the age factor in language learning and acquisition by examining three age categories: children, adolescents, and adults. In doing so, the study considers the critical period hypothesis as a base for linguistic research in the area of age factor. The study disproved the assertion of the hypothesis that all pre-built learners are able to acquire native like proficiency in target language pronunciation. The study analyzed common beliefs, including younger learners are more successful than older learners. Number two, on the language learning process of younger learners are less stressful and require less effort. And number three is young learners are more skillful in language learning. Adolescents and adults are considered as older learners in terms of cognitive ability. The result of the study indicate that children learn a language easier than adolescents and adults, particularly with respect to pronunciation and verbal syntax. Adolescents are good at syntax and listening skill, while the best result for adults are for reading and writing activities. Thus, the range of organization at learn of different developmental stages lead to the need for a diversity of instructional methods for children, adolescents, and adults. The paper two is a literature-based approach on age factor in second language acquisition, children, adolescents, and adults by Bruhan Osman. Okay, next. Number 5. Number 4, I agree with the finding that this should be applied to teacher as role model in school and education, because the teacher, before loving his student, must love his job first. The study showed that a teacher is professional who not only teaches but also has to entertain his student. And a teacher must have a lot of knowledge and experience to make students interested in learning and learning. Number one, a good teacher must love his job. Although previously he was not interested on and or wanted to be a teacher, over time after carrying out his work, he, he would find love for his work. Loving your job is a very good and extraordinary capital, because if later you get an insufficient standard of opinion, then there is no problem. A teacher A teacher pays attention to his students. The teacher teaches according to the knowledge he gets and the necessary learning technique. Teacher must always learn in to expand their teaching knowledge and skill. Number two, good teachers are entertainers. I suggest that the job is a necessary element of teaching, as it presents help to prepare our students for their career as teachers in a complex and uncertain world. It is also more fundamentally honest and provides certainty on the part of the teaching educator. The last is teachers should have a lot of knowledge, not only on their subject. It is essential for a strong grasp of the material they are teaching. Elementary school teachers must have content mastery in the basic math, literacy, social studies, and science. They need to know the expectation in development for children of different age. Next, number 6. Number six, the domain of cognitive into six levels. This domain consists of two parts. The first part is knowledge, and the second part is intellectual abilities and skill. Number one is knowledge. Contain the ability to recognize the principle of remembering definition, fact, word patterns, sequences, methodologies, basic. This level always is the lowest level, but is a prerequisite for the next level. At this level, students answer a question based on rote alone. For example, when asked to describe quality management, people at this level can well the definition of quality, characteristic of quality products, minimum quality standard for product. Number two is understanding, content the ability to construct fact and grouping idea by organizing, comparing, translating, interpreting, describing, and stating main idea question like comparing the health apple and orange. At the idea level, a person has the ability to apply procedure, method, formula, theory, working condition. For example, when given information about the cause of rejected in production, someone at the application level will be able to summarize and describe the cause of the diagram going down. And then analyze. At this level, a person will be able to analyze the incoming information and divide it information into smaller parts to recognize smaller pattern or structure and be able to recognize and distinguish the cause and effect factor of a complex scenario. For example, at this level, a person will be able to sort out the causes of rejection, compare the severity of each cause, and classify each it goes in severity level and then synthesis. One level above analyze, someone at the synthesis level will be able to explain the pattern of a previously unseen scenario and be able to recognize the data or information that must be obtained to produce the required solution. For example, at the level of quality manager, he is able to provide solution to reduce the rejection rate based on his observation of the cause of the decline in product quality. The last is evaluation. Recognize from the idea of assessing solution, suitability, existing criteria or standard to ensure effective value or benefit. For example, at this level, quality manager must be able to assess alternative solutions that are implemented based on effectiveness, urgency, benefit, economic value, etc. Okay, thanks. I think thank you for your attention, guys. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.